Uganda, vibrant and thriving, but like all growing countries in Africa, there's a huge demand for energy. Until recently, Ugandans suffered frequent blackouts from load shedding, often for more than 12 hours daily. Blackouts are not just inconvenient, but expensive, resulting in a serious loss of income.
It used to be on and off, at least every day, every week. We used to have power 2 to 3 days in a week. The business was low. There was no business because the place could become dark. We had no choice just to close up and go home.
And it's not just small businesses that suffer, but large industries that provide livelihoods for tens of thousands of people all over the country.
It is the worst thing that you can face in terms of a growing economy. Power is the driver of everything. You look at small shops, be they printing presses, be they transporters who are moving our product to Kampala and to other places where people are constructing. So having idle labor, and yet costs were all shooting up.
The lack of energy capacity meant relying on very expensive thermal energy generators and imported diesel, at a heavy cost to the environment. It hinders economic development. Uganda's economy was shrinking by 1.5% a year, with potentially serious long-term implications. But Uganda is blessed with a resource that can help create energy which is green and renewable: the fast-running waters of the Nile. Bujagali Energy Limited, or BEL, was formed by the Aga Khan Fund for Economic Development, Scythe Global, a company majority owned by investors of Blackstone Group, and Uganda's government. This public-private partnership is using the Nile's natural resource to help provide the badly needed energy.
It has not been easy through the years to attract traditional private investment capital into ambitious infrastructure projects in the developing world. And yet, with the strong commitment of the government of Uganda, the critical backing of Site Global Power and other private investors, and with the support of the World Bank and other highly respected multinational lenders, the debt and equity financing for this project was actually oversubscribed. What a wonderful breakthrough this has been, and what a powerful model it can be for the future. But if today marks the culmination of an intricate process of planning and organization, it also marks the beginning of another demanding journey, the process of executing and instituting our plans. At the end of this road, however, lies an exciting new world of opportunity for the people of this region, for the people of this country, and indeed the whole of East Africa. As you know, the government and the people of Uganda have made substantial economic strides in recent years, and they are to be congratulated for these achievements. It is striking to me that the continent of Africa, with fully 1/6 of the world's population, produces only 4% of the world's electricity, and most of that is in the northernmost and southernmost countries. The great issue of development everywhere in the world is whether the power supply will grow more quickly than the economy, or whether economic growth will outstrip the power supply. Uganda has been suffering from the latter condition, and the consequences have been grave. Today, only 5% of the total population of Uganda and only 1% of the rural population have access to the grid supply of electric power. Even those who do have access, electricity tariffs have more than doubled in the last 4 years. These skyrocketing costs work to reinforce the cycle of poverty of millions, and they badly impair the ability of Ugandan companies to compete in international markets, and thus to expand employment. The result of continuing power shortfalls can be a downward spiral of disappointment and discouragement. The Bujagali project was not merely a desirable option as we began to examine it a few years ago. It was a fundamental necessity. I believe that the Bujagali project will propel a great chain of positive developments, an exciting upward spiral. From the very beginnings of civilization, the use of water intelligently, respectfully, and creatively has been at the very center of human concerns. The Nile River itself has been a great source and sustainer of life for thousands of years. Today, we repeat and renew that ancient story once again as we lay this foundation stone and thus signal the opening of a new era in African history. I salute all of you respectfully and gratefully for sharing with us in this great endeavor. Thank you very much.
Regarding the Bujagali Hydropower Project, for which we are going to lay the foundation stone this morning, Industrial Promotion Services, an affiliate of AKFED, is leading a consortium called Bujagali Energy Limited, which will be responsible for the development and operation of this project. I understand the Bujagali project is the largest single infrastructure investment of the Aga Khan Development Network worldwide. I commend His Highness for this remarkable contribution to our economy.
Today, with the formal commissioning of the Bujagali hydroelectric facility, Uganda can celebrate the commencement of its energy independence.
Building a dam on the Nile River is certainly something that is not done every day.
The government was in desperate need of power. They had rolling blackouts daily, holding back economic growth in the country.
They had a relatively small amount of power, consuming about 450 megawatts of generation. They paid almost $1 billion over the last several years in cash payments outside of the country to bring in fuel oil to burn, and yet still had all of these brownouts. We knew that by doing this hydro project, we could deliver cost at less than a third. Hydroelectric power is renewable, it's clean, it doesn't require payments to other countries. The facilities last a very, very long period of time, 50, 60 plus years.
It's a big change for businesses, big change for the people that have been impacted by that lack of energy.
We think it'll increase their economic growth by about 2% a year relative to what it was before.
We've made tremendous investments in schools, health clinics, small and medium-sized enterprises, and training, vocational training for the people in the area.
The whole of Africa is looking on how to do PPPs, and here you have an opportunity where actually being able to do it.
This is a project that is unique in terms of the opportunity to partner with the government, to partner with multilateral organizations, and for private capital to come together to do something that had been envisioned 18 years ago.
This is actually setting the stage for further rollouts of similar projects in different parts of Africa, which is what Africa needs.
First of all, we're here to celebrate the 50 years of independence of Uganda, the Pearl of Africa. And it is an honor to be celebrating this event in the presence of President Museveni and so many distinguished leaders of other African nations. It's also a pleasure to be joined today by all of you for the inauguration of the Bujagali Hydropower plant, a momentous accomplishment that will open the door for continuing and expanding progress. It is not only a transformative development in the economic life of Uganda and of the continent, but is also an inspiring model of how such change can best be accomplished. As we inaugurate the model today, I have two short comments I want to share with you. The first is my admiration for the extraordinary diversity of men and women who came together to produce this remarkable project. We had planners and financiers, engineers and architects, scientists and government officials, suppliers and contractors, consultants, construction workers, and community leaders. And we had President Museveni and his government. Their story is a compelling one because in a project of this complexity, there are surprises that occur. And when you have that number of participants working together for a 5-year period, those surprises have to be addressed by consensus. They cannot be addressed in any other way. And I would like to express my admiration for all the stakeholders who worked in such a united manner, moving forward in the interest of the project and the interest of Uganda. Let me give you one small example of the sort of issues that arose. The grid had to be linked to 100 kilometers of cable. And in order to do that, we had to cross 2,632 separate land parcels. That was just one small part of this vast endeavor. At its heart, the Bujagali project is a Ugandan project. It is a Ugandan success story. And again, I would like to thank the President for having led this initiative in a way where this unique private-public partnership was able to move forwards. But this is not only a Ugandan project, it's a global project. 37 different nationalities participated from around the world to make this project move forwards. The second point I would make is that this project has not stopped at the delivery of energy. It is investing in education, it's investing in healthcare, it's investing in social development, it's investing on all those aspects which improve the quality of life of people who live within the ambit of the project. And I think this is an important lesson to be learned, because ultimately the goal is to improve the quality of life of people in the most complete manner possible. Finally, let me address my thanks to all the stakeholders who worked so well here. And I would refer to the project managers, to the contractors, to the workmen, to the lenders, who were very empathetic at times when we needed their empathy. And I hope that what we have learned from this project will give Uganda replicable knowledge for the benefit of all of Africa. Thank you.
Modern life means industrialization, modernization of agriculture, modernization of services, meaning hotels, banks, etc., and a transformed human resource through education for all and through improved health care for all. That's what modern life means. However, all this cannot happen if there is no modernization of infrastructure, especially electricity, roads, the railways, piped water, etc. How many people are dying because of lack of electricity? How many people are suffering without jobs because of lack of electricity? Uganda's economy has been growing at the rate of 6.5% per annum for the last 26 years without reliable electricity. With electricity, our economy will grow at a much faster rate. Now that we have security in the whole country, with the maturing of our army, with adequate electricity, there is nothing that will stop Uganda from transitioning into a medium-income country and eventually into a first world country in the next 50 years. It is now my pleasure to declare commissioned the Bujagali Power Station.
Bell has constructed the Bujagali Hydropower Project, one of the largest independent power plants in sub-Saharan Africa. It has the capacity to produce 250 megawatts of energy. Just a few months after becoming fully operational, it is already providing 49% of Uganda's energy needs. The proportion of Uganda's electricity generated with renewable sources has risen to 90%, making Uganda's grid one of the greenest in the world. The $860 million project employed 3,000 people at the peak of construction. Many of these workers have taken their skills to other construction sites or are getting further training at Bujagali. There were many challenges during the construction, some of them unexpected.
Initially starting right off, there was riots in Kenya. We've had a ship hijacked with a very crucial component of our our turbine on it. We also had ships collide with our cargo in it, and our cargo went into the sea. So just getting the materials here to build this project has been a challenge. Actually, despite all the challenges and everything that we faced, we're on time and on budget with this project.
Bell has developed a number of social programs in the surrounding community. The local wildlife was protected throughout the construction, and hundreds of trees are being planted.
We have undertaken a number of programs to ensure that the environment is not affected, and one of the major programs has been the reforestation of the riverbank. We have planted over 400 hectares of trees between Bujagali Dam and Kalagala area along the riverbank.
Bell ensured the local communities are better off than they were before the dam was built.
People have seen a lot of improvement since the project came in. They came up with what we call a community development action plan, and our local communities have benefited through that program a lot in the areas of education, health, agriculture, and so many others.
9 villages in the area now have access to piped water and electricity. Oyite Kalori of Naminya village has no electricity. He relies on paraffin lamps, which he says harms his home and the health of his family.
This smoke is dangerous, very dangerous to our lives, to the property. When you breathe it in.
But his life will soon be transformed. He's about to be connected to the electricity grid now that his village has power. He says he will use the electricity to generate more income by opening up a hairdressing salon in his house and improve his existing business of poultry farming. The tourism industry has also received a boost from the project. The rafting business continues to attract thrill seekers downstream, while the cruise business on the lake behind the dam has actually increased overall revenues.
The tourist numbers have fairly increased, probably by maybe, I could say 10%, because most of those clients do not prefer going rafting every day, but they would rather do sunset or lunch cruises every day or every weekend.
Businesses up and down the country, from the important fishing industry to construction companies, have benefited from this reliable source of energy. Uganda has also gained. Revenues, after subsidies on electricity were removed, amount to $9.5 million a month.
You know, you are talking about closer to 8% of the overall national budget going into subsidies in one sector. And imagine the seriousness of the issue.
The government is also gaining carbon credits worth 900,000 carbon emission reductions. But there is still some way to go before affordable energy is available to a larger population. The infrastructure needs to be repaired and the grid expanded. Uganda needs to raise $400 million to upgrade the grid and increase access. It plans to increase access from 15% to 30% of the population over the next 10 years. For now, the existing steady supply of electricity is benefiting health institutions all over the country and saving lives, especially in the rural areas like the villages near Bujagali.
Certainly, it helped a lot in saving lives, mainly of the newborns. Because can you imagine conducting delivery in darkness on a torch? And I'm sure our patients were so much motivated to come to this health facility because of electricity. They see light as life.
And the increased capacity is also assuring the future of the country in another way, empowering students to study late into the night and with the tools necessary for their advancement.
So without electricity, then the computer lab will not be running, internet will not be running. Even the computer itself, leave alone the internet, even the computer itself will not be running. Students need to type their assignments. The institution has also recently been moving towards a new approach of learning where we set up student learning sites. So those would not be running if we do not have electricity.
Although Uganda has dramatically increased its energy supply, it will need to produce more to keep up with extra demand. It will need more projects and more public and private partnerships like the one created for the Bujagali project.
Resources are scarce. So sometimes as government, when you want to put up a power plant infrastructure like this, you may not have resources to do so. So if you have got a partner who comes in, that is success. And even then, for government, if you have to borrow money from other financing institutions, it takes a very long time. So that also delays development in a way. So those are things that the government should be able to do anywhere, provide land, provide the transmission facility, while the public sector constructs the generation plant. So I think it's a model that can be sold to many parts of the world, in this, especially in Africa here.
Bujagali has been successful because of the pillars of good enabling environment, solid partners, and lenders that trusted the vision of the sponsors and the government. And that is what has resulted in a very successful Bujagali Hydropower Project, which is on budget and on time, which is totally unique for this part of the world, considering the size and the complexity of the project. Bujagali is the ideal model for replication.
Such projects will be needed throughout the region to provide clean, renewable and affordable energy to help improve the quality of life of the people in Eastern Africa. Bujagali is not just a commercial project, it is an engine for economic growth, creating jobs and allowing businesses to expand, all part of the long-term economic development process.
Whatever we do, we should have in our mind the development aspect and the future support that we are going to be able to give to projects in Africa. What we in AGFED believe is that this future development of Africa should be done in a responsible way, so that it's not just here, come do a hit and miss and take whatever you can and go away.